It's not about stats. It's not about the cap space, or the analytics, or the draft grades. It's about what you feel when you look at this Miami Dolphins team and something just feels off. You try to rationalize it. Maybe blame the injuries, the refs, the wind. But deep down, it's louder than excuses. It's the silence in the locker room, the kind that makes you wonder who's really in charge in there. Because if you've been paying attention, and I mean really paying attention, you know this isn't about a lack of talent. That's not the problem. This team is loaded. On paper, Miami can run with anyone. So why does it still feel like a house built on sand? Because something's slipping, and nobody seems to be holding the rope tight enough. Let's not pretend anymore. Coach McDaniel is being tested in ways he wasn't prepared for. Not just XS and OS. Not just clock management or game plans. No, this is bigger. This is about presence, command, authority. And right now, that presence feels like it's missing. You remember 2022. You remember the energy, the unpredictability, the fresh vibe. That wasn't just football, it was fun again. But then came 2023, and that shine started to wear off. The cracks began to show. The freewheeling creativity started to look more like chaos than innovation. And now we're staring down 2025 with more questions than answers. The biggest one: who's actually leading this team? Tyreek Hill makes headlines for the wrong reasons again. You tell yourself it's a blip, that it won't affect the field. But it does. Of course it does. How can a team function when one of its biggest stars brings that kind of distraction, and no one seems to be holding him accountable? That locker room isn't just full of players. It's full of eyes, watching how the leaders react. What message is being sent when the answer is silence? McDaniel came in like a breath of fresh air. A different kind of coach, relatable, smart, tuned in. And for a while it worked. But now it feels like that freshness turned stale. Like the locker room stopped listening. Or worse, they're listening and not hearing anything worth following. And it circles back to one truth: control. You either have it or you don't. And if you don't, it shows. On the field, off the field, in the way players carry themselves, in how they respond to adversity, in the way the team starts strong and folds when it matters most. You want to talk about legacy? Then look at the shadow hanging over this franchise. Don Shula didn't beg for respect. He demanded it. And he got it. Not because he smiled his way through pressers, but because he stood tall and made it clear: this is my team. Can anyone honestly say McDaniel is doing that right now? And if not now, when? Because here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. If this team crashes in 2025, McDaniel isn't walking away with excuses in hand. He's walking away for good. And maybe that sounds harsh. Maybe it is. But this league doesn't wait. It doesn't care about potential. It cares about results. And we've waited long enough. You can look at Greer's draft record, sure. There's plenty to critique there. You can talk about aging veterans and a roster that's slowly creeping toward a cliff. But none of that matters if the person steering the ship can't keep it steady. None of that matters if the locker room doesn't believe anymore. So what now? Does McDaniel find that next gear? Does he stop trying to be liked and start being respected? Can he even make that turn? Because make no mistake, this isn't about yelling louder or making grand speeches. It's about establishing that line in the sand. This far, no further. That's what the greats do. They shift. They evolve. They adapt to the moment instead of clinging to what worked before. McDaniel? He's got a choice. Keep pretending the vibes will carry this team to glory, or finally take control of the room he's supposed to command. Because 2025 doesn't care about 2022. The fans don't either. Not anymore. The goodwill is fading, and all that's left is expectation. Weighty, sharp-edged expectation. And if that scares you, you're not alone, because it should. This team has too much talent to be playing this small. Too much potential to be this undisciplined. And yet here we are, still having the same conversation, still waiting for someone to step up and set the tone. Will it be McDaniel? Or will this be the year everything unravels? No one can say for sure. But one thing's clear, something's gotta give. And soon. Because if not now, then when? If not McDaniel, then who? And if this team can't fix what's broken from within, what's even the point of building the rest?